as black, I might be tempted to take and play knight e7, just kind of shutting down the outpost.
Or maybe going b5?
Well, indeed, that's what his last. But b5, yeah, I was going to say b5 invites knight f6, and the rook might land on a6 after a whole series of trades. Whereas in this position, b5 is a big threat, and I think I have to play b5 myself.
Could play a5 as well.
a5.
Because
okay.
if black plays b5, then... Oh, there we go. Anish played a5.
From your word. To there. Here's a5. Knight takes d5. Obviously, thank you very much for taking my pawn. That walks into queen b3. No knight takes d5, but now knight takes d5 might be on the agenda. Queen b3 defends the pawn. These double pawns make a strange impression on me, Var. I like the two bishops, but I'm not overly happy with white's position.
Actually, a very, very big advantage for white here.
No kidding.
Yes, the two bishops are very strong,
okay.
and here you can even give up the pawn here. Play the move bishop e3, for example.
Bishop e3 and
because if you take on d5 with a knight, there is a move bishop c4, and
right.
then you're going to be dropping the pawn on f7 here.
Okay, so big moment here. I like bishop e3 because I thought rook c5 has a potential to be disruptive. Rook to b1, showing that he's not afraid of knight takes d5, bishop c4, what you mentioned, but maybe that bishop e3 move was nasty.
Black's position is so passive here. It's hard to find moves for Magnus.
The move I wanted to play was rook c5.
And then if bishop e3, what would you do?
You're
going to sacrifice in exchange?
Maybe the mother of necessity would be to take, right? Or there is bishop e6 in that case after bishop e3. But I got to do something, and what are the clock times? They play quickly.
They both have about 2 minutes. I think Magnus maybe should play knight f5 to not allow bishop e3.
Knight f5 makes perfect sense.
And there he goes.
Once again, well done, Nasi. Knight f5.
Looked like the only move.
Yes, yeah, and somehow the bishop on b5, I need to put pressure. I would like to lead with the rook. I often say that the queen is the best supporting actress, right? you oftentimes
shouldn't be in front of the rook, right?
yeah, behind.
Oh, and Anish played
g4.
Yeah.
Okay.
Kicked the knight right back.
And knight went back to e7, bishop c4. Okay, defending the pawn. Var, that move g4, very double-edged. Both players happy, or who's happiest?
G4 it's okay here, but I think now with this f4 square, black is going to try to get some counterplay with knight g6. If we go back one move in this position, g4, knight e7, there was another option here to play the move d4 immediately, try to open up the e-file for the rook.
Okay.
And the point is now if you play the move e4, now white has this move g5. Now attacking the knight on f6, and if you move the knight, then rook takes e4, and if you capture, then knight takes g5 with the idea to capture the pawn back knight e4, and here white would have had a pretty big advantage.
Gotcha. So after g4, he should have maybe followed it up with d4. He did play bishop c4, knight g6 as you prescribed, looking for counterplay with knight f4. Queen d6, inviting a queen trade? What did he do?
Magnus should have traded queens.
Because of a6?
a6, he does have knight d7 prepared.
That's the nice move, kicking out the queen just in time.
I'm still uncomfortable with bishop a5 ideas. So what if I just move my queen away? Let's say... also, I just heard that Darius said on a6, black also has queen c8. Simple.
Well, we're about to find out what it's going to be. Simply queen c8 or knight d7. And here's what you were talking about. You were talking about the queen getting kicked away, but opening up the possibility of bishop a5. And Magnus kind of taken aback by that move.
Maybe
Bishop A5
He
on
should
the
sacrifice.
Actually,
in
but here,
exchange.
if you even give up the exchange with that weak square on f4, and the knight will simply land on f4, and I think black will have a pretty good compensation, even down exchange in
So
some
you
of these
take-
positions. Yes,
you take the pawn,
eliminate
you
the
allow
pawn,
bishop A5, and your
and knight
counter
f4.
is
Bishop
that the
a5,
knight.
yeah, knight a4.
Got it, got it. Sorry, we're not cutting to your board, Var, because it goes very quickly. So the analysis would go on my board, and bishop A5 takes knight F4 is the intuitive exchange sacrifice, and he's
going
done
for
it. He's done it, and well, here comes the exchange sacrifice. Bishop A5, knight F4, or knight C5.
C5.
Knight C5, I like that move. You defend the pawn on A6, the knight. You are inviting D4.
d4 very strong now for Anish.
Immediately without taking
Yes,
on C7.
and because if captured, knight takes d4 will allow knight c6 as well.
And
He's done it.
I think Magnus missed this move.
Knight C5 did invite D4. The more I'm looking at it, I would have liked to have seen knight F4 by Magnus.
And now if White's knight comes to D4, it has this amazing square on C6.
The primary
looking-
squares. Exactly. You're absolutely right. Knight. And if the
Magnus-
position wasn't intense enough, the clock times.
Magnus down to 20 seconds while Anish has 51. This is scary for Magnus.
And Anish is playing
Dangerous position and no time to think.
very, very well. He's putting the pressure.
Wow.
And Magnus is feeling it.
seconds.
He's getting nervous, and that nervousness is being transferred. You can feel
5 seconds.
5,
Oh,
4.
I think he forgot about clock.
And he
Wow.
just. How much time did he have left when he made that move?
1 second.
1 second. And
Okay.
now he's bishop. Queen takes C7 came immediately.
Yes.
Okay, put the knight on C6,
But he's,
or
since the e-pawn is gone, he doesn't have that f4 outpost for his knight anymore.
yeah, but I want the knight C6 permits me to play rook to B8, right? And once I can get my rook on B8, you're in an eternal pin. By the way, breaking news.
Duda has won his game, and
Huge.
Shevchenko has won his game against Rappert.
And now we have rook B8. This looks.
Oh no! Oh no!
Oh,
dropping
Magnus
pieces.
dropping his pieces. But knight E6? Knight E6? Knight F5.
97 now?
Knight E7
It's
check?
just winning, right?
Yes,
Winning a
because you
piece.
got Queen F7.
Oh, he's not. He just took the pawn.
Oh,
But it
whoa,
still looks
whoa,
completely
whoa,
winning.
whoa, whoa, whoa.
Black cannot get out of this pin.
Well, he just did the Queen D3. But
What?
Anish looking very, very uncertain.
Because he has so many winning moves that it's hard to choose from.
And now it's a scramble. It's a mad scramble for the clock. The clock is deciding everything.
Maybe Magnus improved his position. He's not
It's
pinned
crazy.
anymore. Oh, he took on d5. Is he coming back? Var, can you give us an update?
Yeah, it's
Oh, and he let
He's
a
winning
pin. What is he doing? He
Oh, my
oh,
goodness.
Anish.
Anish blundered a queen.
Oh my God! Once again, Anish was completely winning.
Completely.
Knight E7. Let's just quickly.